Welcome again, everyone. Jerry's Old Guy Review, and today we are going to talk about something that has come up on my channel since its beginning. 6x6s and my fascination with them. You know, a lot of people have wondered, and they've commented over the years, why do I have so many six-wheelers? Why am I always talking about six-wheelers? Well, it's going to start from the beginning. So some of us who are old enough to remember the 80s and the 90s, and hell, part of the 2000s, heat, we were very limited to what was available. And basically in the 80s, your RC selection was a stock looking vehicle or a crazy monster truck. That was basically it. And as things have progressed, you know, once again, a company has to think about the long term. So 6x6s weren't really a thing in the real world. So nobody was thinking of it. Basically just military vehicles, which still, it blows my mind that Tamiya, who basically created the tank trend, never got into the military six-wheelers. You know, I've got 3 of the semis, so there I've got 3 10-wheelers. But, you know, I know for a business to make this step. And right now, all we have, the 2 longest term companies that did six-wheelers was Cross RC and rc4wd drive. Now rc4wd drive has basically dumped their lineup of any kind of military vehicles. They had the Beast, they had the Beast 2, and you know, the Beast was like an 8 scale, and they only made a cab for it. And then the Beast 2 came as a complete vehicle, as a kit that you built. Now, Cross makes very nice rigs, very, very excellently scaled military rigs, but again, they can be fragile. And you know, the time you spent building that kit, putting everything together, because very little of the body and everything else comes together, you have to build it. So those of us that didn't have any options built our own. And back in 2011, 2012 is when I built my first one. Designed, I'd already built an 8-wheeler, but that was all out of steel, and you know, the kits, the donor kits that I got for it weren't necessarily, you know, perfect for the job. Eye candy. So that one was a bit limited. I've still got it, but as big as it ended up being, getting, are you going to be part of this? Yes, you are. Oh, wow. For those of you keeping track, he's getting bigger. So, Axial, this is the OG SCX-10. And this is built with 2 kits, with some tidbits from the Axial website back when it was still the original owners on how to build it. It is nothing like a conventional six-wheeler or any six-wheeler that existed in the day, but they decided to figure out, using nothing but their products, how to make it. And the best thing about the OG SCX10 axle was, if you buy 2 of them, you can make an actual, that third axle, or that middle axle you need to make a 6-wheeler. Boom. The options were limitless at that point. But they never made a production one. Well, then they did. With the SCX10-2, this is the UMG 6x6, which, you know, the third axle, which I never got around to getting, and I should have bought another one. They had the conversion kit, and you could take a stock SCX10-2 and make it the 6x6. This axle right here is the Grail. It had just this addition, so the 2 axles were still, you were able to replace the cover and put the middle axle on it so you could make a 6x6. Once again, this came out. Never thought that they would completely get rid of it. Which actually, while I'm thinking of it, since I didn't pre-prep, yeah, same axles, but you need that bit. And they only released it for a little while by itself. And, you know, you can find, like on Amazon or whatnot, an axle, but you need that bit. Now Traxxas. The UMG 6x6 came out. They took us, this was right in the acquisition time period of Horizon Hobbies buying them all. So this truck didn't get the support that it wanted. Well, I'll tell you right now, and it has been for the last 2 years, people want it. And I know Horizon, they own everybody. But guess what? Not a single one of your other companies makes a 6x6. You had one. Now you've got competition. The 6-wheeler market, I am seeing haulers everywhere. Now I'm seeing that I peruse the sites occasionally, selling sites, the Traxxas 6x6, the OG, the TRX 6, what they call it, they're always sold out. So either Traxxas isn't making very many or people are buying them. And, you know, at $600 compared to their Gladiators that are $600 friggin' dollars, you know, or actually that's just the SCX10 3, you know, they made a stripped down bare bones version of it. Oh, sorry, I was charging batteries too. You know, and that one seems to be selling more popular than the fully loaded one. So why don't we re-release the 2, which you should have all the plans or whatever in your computers to make parts for. Why don't we try with a 6x6 again? Maybe a limited run. It's not like you're making everything from scratch. Because now you've got the ultimate hauler, which goes to my love of 6x6s. You can take them generally in places that your 4-wheelers aren't going to go to, or they're going to get hung up. That extra axle sometimes saves the day. But it's raw pornography for me to watch all those axles working. You know, this UMG 6, you know, I loved it when it came out. I should have probably bought another one. I don't usually buy double vehicles, but I never thought that an Axial rig would just come out for a minute and be gone. This truck is rocking its original wheels. You know, they're military style. You know, I did some graphics on it. And per living in Alaska, where I have more winter than summer, you know, it's got all the lights, roof lights. This truck I can take out right now. I am in the middle of a snowstorm. I could take this out right now and just go drive it in the snow. And it is going to get through the snow better than, say, a four-wheeler will. That one is, you know, and now I'm afraid, you know, I don't want to go do anything really aggressive with it. You know, the TRX-6. Not only was it a six-wheeler, but Richard Hammond drove one of these on Top Gear, and I instantly saw it and fell in love with it. So I got the one in the same color of the gray that he was driving. You know, I put a roof rack on it. It's got more lights on it. It's got the rock lights. It's got all the other lights that come on it. Excellent driving in the winter rig. But also in the summer, if I want to go out, my backyard's flooded, you know, throw a battery in and go to town. This thing goes through everything. You know, not the best rock crawler, but more of an all-purpose rig. And, you know, say down the road I want to make a towing rig to tow something ridiculous. I can use one of these six-wheeler, put some extra thick, you know, brake fluid in it, and boom, there we go. A very underrated truck that people were in love with Cross at the time. The people buying Cross vehicles were not looking to RC four-wheel drive. This is the Beast 2. This truck is completely, you build everything to include 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. 7, 8 pieces to build the individual hinges on it. You know, nice little storage door where all your electronics are. You know, it is made not like a true military vehicle, but more of a crawler. And way back in the Versus Challenge I did, it didn't do as good because I messed up with it. And it got a rock lodged in one of the drive shafts. But other than that, this thing has got a crawler setup. Whoa, what do we got there? You know, it's got all the links. Very good articulation, shocks on every axle. This is more of a crawler than, say, you know, just a military style truck, which would be the Cross. The HC6. Hey, what are you doing? Are you back again? Mommy sent you down to find out what I'm doing? Aren't you being sweet today? You know, another completely built kit, but it's got the suspension just like a military vehicle. But I took the bed off and made it to pull my big HG trailer, which it does very well. But now this, you don't take this out where you want, you know, massive clearance and go through the biggest mud pit. But even that, look at it sitting on that step. That's about a half an inch. Well, that could be close to an inch, that lip. Look at that articulation. That is what I love seeing. And, you know, some people don't want to spend Cross kind of money on a kit they build themselves and go out there and really put it to the test to see, you know, how far can it go. But it looks fabulous out driving. I love it. And that's the way I am with all my six-wheelers. These just look fabulous out driving. They can sometimes, you know, especially those ones with the military tires, they're not as efficient. as, you know, actually I didn't like the tires that are on the heavy hauler because they were the ones that were on the TRX6, but the TRX6 is a bit lighter. These tires work really good with this extra weight, you know, and you can throw something on the back if you want. But the biggest thing with the 6x6s is you have got all this extra area on all of them. You know, my buddy Dalton, he cut his bed off of his and, you know, made a rear storage rack so there's more, he can put more weight back there. So it might perform better. Me, I bought that truck for the way it looked. You know, the hauler. Thanks to the hauler coming out, I've got some ideas in my head now, and I'm almost thinking of buying another hauler and a TRX6 or two TRX6s and trying to make 2, 4, 6. Well, it would be an 8-wheeler, but it would be 6 rear wheels. I got that crazy idea. But, you know, instead of this wall of multiple things for different occasions, you know, a 6-wheeler, you could, with your imagination, you know, that's it. You could make whatever you want because there's available vehicles, but right now, all you've got is Traxxas. So if somebody wants to build a crazy product, Traxxas more than likely is going to get the first call when somebody needs to buy something. Meanwhile, somebody that made something terrific needs to think about the fact that you don't have a 6-wheeler in your lineup anywhere. You bean counters need to start looking and seeing what's Traxxas doing with TRX6s or the Ultimate Hauler. You know, check and see what Cross is doing. Cross was expensive before, and they have got a coveted, it's an 8-wheeler, but, you know, and I've got 2 8-wheelers. You know, I love the multiple wheels for different options. You know, I took a military vehicle, made it civilian. Kept one as a military vehicle. I've got the HG 402 Cougar. That's a 6-wheeler, you know, but that is a military vehicle. I can't take that out crawling. That is for mud and dirt and limited conditions. Same thing with this truck. I have tried, actually the HC6 was in the Versus Challenge. It didn't do very well because everything got hung up. But with the hauler and the TRX6, you know, you got to be really extensive with the hauler, but the hauler does way better than I thought it would do. But they do hang up. Not a lot on the bottom of the TRX6 except for the exhaust and running boards to hang up, which I've driven this on the course a lot and I really haven't tore up that exhaust. So, you know, imagination, innovation, projecting, pornography, and watching the suspension work. Those are my 6x6, the things I take with me outside. You know, and both of these are all decked out with lights. Actually, all 3 of these are decked out with lights. These are my prime winter rigs. Out in the snow, plowing it. Now that I've got the hauler, you know, it's done pretty good. It hasn't done a winter yet, so we are going to see how it does. It's been my prime truck so far, but we'll see how many inches of snow I've got. I've blown off the trails 3 times today, and it's still snowing. So look to see these 3 guys out there in the snow, and we're actually the Vanquish boys are going to be out in the backyard. Ron and Fordyce, So we're going to see how they do in the wintertime this year. But in the comments, did I explain it enough about my fascination with 6x6s? And you see I've got some, so you've got any questions, you've got any comments. My limited collection here, you know, I've still got, who else do I got? Actually, my OG is going to get revitalized. So you've got any questions, got any comments, let me hear them. Like and subscribe, especially if you like six-wheelers. And you have any questions or comments, I'll make you a video about them. And I will talk to you on the next one.